this ain't your daddy's Christian music. I mean,
Definitely not.
There's a strong feeling of gospel in there, but at the same time, you kind of meld in a hefty dose of rock and roll and a little bit of big band in there. I mean, I could get a definite feel of the big bands of the '40s in there. It's how did you create this sound? Was this an inspiration? Did you work on it? Did you work with others? What?
Yeah. So I believe that, firstly, Dave, thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it. And I think it's an honor every time that I get an opportunity to share and talk. I love to talk. And so I think that, the Blood Song is a combination of, of course, most know that I'm a worship leader by trade. And so I've grown up and grown into worship planning and leading worship music in churches all of my life now. And so for a period of time, there was a ministry that I served within that consistently forced me to lead worship music on Communion Sunday, which is the longest service of the month, every month, right? And so I was singing, of course, the ritual communion songs that we normally would sing every Communion Sunday. However, I had just become exhausted with the songs. And so after one Communion Sunday, I started hearing the inspiration of the melody and the lyric and everything else in between for what we know today as the Blood Song. And then my really good friend and brother and producer, Sean Alexander, who is known across this green earth for his phenomenal skills in music production, took this song to a whole nother level. And that is where we got what is today known as the Blood Song.
Awesome. I just can't help but think, and I've seen some of your videos, and I just can't help but think that you mentioned the word exhaustion. You must be exhausted after one of those performances because you put everything there is in you into the performance.
Dave, listen, I grew up with a grandfather that taught me, listen, if you're going to do it all the way. And so that's definitely my mantra, and that's what I embody every time. But, when it's a little different when you're doing faith-based, ministry in the form of music because God is really our strength, and it literally, sometimes there's things that happen in those moments that I can't even tell you about, and I don't even remember because it's not really me. Being led by God and in a sense being persuaded and being, guided by God to administer the music in a certain way and manner so that it can bless the people.
And you must have your own group. I mean, I can't see you going out and doing this as a rule anyway. There's always an exception, but as a rule, I can't see you going out and doing this music with people that haven't worked with you. This is something that it just seems like you've got to have your own core group to present this and put everything into it that you do.
That's an amazing question, man. Many don't understand. There's a word that we use, and you hear it a lot in artistry across all genres. It's called synergy, it makes for a better performance, right? When you're working with individuals that know how you flow, that know, what you're probably going to go to. They know your go-tos, they know your music, and most importantly, you guys are connected in a deeper way or a spiritual level, where there's some things that we won't even have to communicate. It just happens because of the amount of connection and, I guess, mutuality within what we do.
Right. Well, I can relate to that because John and I met back in 1974 in radio in Tampa, Florida, and
sure.
With an exception of a few years in between, we have been working either in partying or in music or whatever for 40 years now, and we have a little bit of the same thing. There are times when we could finish each other's sentences, or we can go on to the next
almost
step.
Like you can complete your thoughts.
Exactly. Like I know now that he's sitting there and he wants to get in here and say something, so I'm going to let him jump in here.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, Chris, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is great to have you on board with us.
Thank you.
I'm listening to your song. I'm listening to the Blood song, and it just took me back to the days when I was in Tampa, and a very good friend of mine and we would go up into Pasco County back when it was extremely rural. And there were these tent revivals and featuring these black gospel choirs that just blew me away. And listening to this song brought me back to that because I could hear that energy. And hearing your leadership in that song, which to me, if there's a male version of Aretha Franklin combined with Wilson Pickett just getting it, and that's what you did with this song. And I love it.
Wow.
Yeah, I
so
love it
much, John. I appreciate that.
Well,
that's the highest thing, I say. That is the highest thing. Those are some big shoes to fill. Definitely.
Well, look, David will tell you that if there's something that I don't like, I'll say it. I don't care if the guest is there or not. I'll say it. And I found absolutely nothing negative about this song. Everything about it is positive. It's uplifting. And again, if our listeners out there, if they've ever been to one of these black tent gospel revivals, then they'll get it. They'll understand what I'm saying. I
remember.
And if they haven't, they should make a point, put it on their bucket list to do that in their life.
Absolutely. You don't know music if you haven't been to one of those revival meetings. And I remember so vividly the first one I went to. I was about, probably 17 or 18, right in that area. And I was going through North Carolina on my way to Florida. My big breakaway, I'm going to drive down to my mom's in Florida. And I remember I was at a motel there in right outside of Rocky Mount. And I noticed all of a sudden I heard some music coming from this tent across the street. And I just had to go and see what was going on. And it didn't even occur to me that the next morning that I was the only white guy in this whole crowd. We just sat there and got into the music and the message, and it was an amazing experience. And you really don't, they've said that you don't know music if you don't do the blues. Well, the same can be said for gospel. You don't know music if you ain't gotten into gospel music. It's just that moving an experience.
Absolutely. I think that's what's been most appreciated by the efforts and the labor over the last couple of decades that we've been moving and pushing this great gospel message through song. It's just the potency of it. It just kind of sticks with you. You'll never hear anything else like it in the world, I promise.
And it's a great unifier too. It really is. Now, tell us a little bit about you personally. Who is Chris Bender? Where did he come from? How did he get to where he is today?
Absolutely. Well, I am a 25, soon to be 26. I turned 26 on Thursday. I'm getting old.
Well, congratulations and happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
26 and you're old? Give me a break.
Oh, my God. I swear. Listen, you guys, I promise, I tell everybody, I feel like I've lived on Earth a couple of decades ago. I swear. I'm just coming back. I'm tired. Every day. I've been here before, I promise.
He's back for a return act.
So right, it's like the Benjamin Button effect, I swear.
I like that.
So I'm a soon-to-be 26-year-old social worker, actually, here in the city of Boston, Massachusetts. And I have happened to, over the last, let's see if I'm 7, over the last 18 years, I've been in this amazing walk, with my Christian faith in God, and it's led me to, become such an incredible individual, I would say, and it's helped me to really be able to shape, and develop lives and make an impact in over the past, 10 years or so almost now. I've been doing this thing called professional artist movement and work which has led me to develop, a sound and definitely a name for myself in the industry, where, there's an expectation for Chris to produce and to produce in a level and a form of excellence that many might have, but they don't have it like Chris does. And so it's an honor to really be able to, share the gospel and also to, every day change lives. And that honestly, I live every day, day to day, with an assignment to make an impact on someone's life, whether it's my work for my social work business, or if it's my own personal ministry. Every day it's a task for me to make sure that I'm leaving a positive impact on somebody's life.
Well, I believe you're definitely doing that. Now, you mentioned your ministry, and of course, my co-host here is a Boston boy at heart himself,
Yep.
Having been from that area and grew up a little bit there. Tell us,
John, you
tell
people, man.
Yeah, hey, the Red Sox good, Yankees bad, that kind of thing.
We do have a little disagreement on one or two subjects. I mean, you can't be together this long and not have some disagreements, and we beat each other up accordingly to that. But in talking about your ministry and your music and everything, tell the listeners how they can find you and your music online.
Absolutely. Family, if you were looking to hear more of my music, I just actually released another song entitled Glad in It, which placed number 3 on Billboard charts. And so really, really excited about that. That has been really taking over the world by storm, and I'm really amazed at it. If you want to hear that or anything else that I've been graced to be a part of or work on or release myself, you can find my music everywhere music is to be sold or distributed. Apple Music, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Spotify, Pandora, everywhere. Type in Chris Bender and you'll be able to find me. If you're looking to learn more about me, and if you want to even experience what I do in person, you can find booking information, things of that nature, at my at my website, and that is found within the website domain called IamChrisBender.com.
Very good. As we always say here on the David Bowers Awards, self-promotion is highly encouraged. So we're glad you shared that information, and I heartily encourage people, if they are at all moved by this music for whatever reason, follow up on it, because he does some great stuff. And Chris, the song that you mentioned, Glad in It, we're going to play in just a couple of minutes here. So before we let you go,
yay.
Can you tell us a little bit about this song?
Oh, my gosh. Well, man, I think that, as a songwriter, it's important to always be able to embody a piece of or embody an art of work that can always reach people. But I think that it's even more important for the music to be a piece of you. And Glad in It has been just that. For me, I've a little bit of my personal story. Since the age of about 7, I've battled with PTSD and depression. And a challenge for me, or for a moment of time. Oh my gosh, no, it's okay. Trust me, it's definitely a story of victory for me. As growing as a teenager, and especially in the African American community, it wasn't always encouraged for us to seek help and to seek out professional assistance in trying to venture into healing and wholeness and wellness. And so at the age of 21, it became a part of my personal determination to ensure that was my life, and that I really became an overcomer of over everything that I've been through. And during the 24th year of my life, I went through another weird but very negative, very dark bout with depression again. And in that space, crazy enough, God gave me the lyrics and the melody to the song that is known today as Glad in It. And literally, I've gotten messages and emails and letters of people all over the world that have been, especially during this pandemic, that have been really going through a hard time. I've talked to individuals that have gone through loss of family members and, loss of jobs and financial struggles and hardships that have said, thanks to your commitment to your assignment, this song has helped me to see myself in a different place than where I am right now, even though I haven't really come out of my dark space